Today we're going to demonstrate how to wrap one of my favorite handguns, which is the Walther P22. We've wrapped this handgun probably 100 times, and as you can see, no residue, no craziness. This is the way it comes factory. We are going to wrap it with this vinyl. Our pattern is moss bite. It is a tactical pattern, but looks great on handguns, looks great on rifles, looks great on pretty much any kind of tactical weapon you'd want to put on, knives, bottles. So anyway, first thing we always do is we check and make sure that the weapon is unloaded, which it is. We'll check the chamber here, and there's nothing in the chamber, so we're good to go. We would normally actually just go ahead and take the slide off this one, but I'm going to show you how to do it with the slide on, which is pretty much the way everyone will probably do it, but it is easier to do with the slide off. But I want to go ahead and prep it today with the slide on. So first thing is we will take and we will clean our product, handgun, whatever you're doing, with denatured alcohol. Kind of important. Like I said, it's pretty much just a precaution to get every bit of any type of solvent that's on the weapon. You would want to go ahead and clean it and make sure that there's no residue or no oils, which, you know, everybody cleans their handguns, so there's always oils. But you want to get the oils off, and you really don't have to get crazy with it, but I would recommend that you spend a little bit of time making sure that you clean it down. This has actually already been cleaned, so I'm not really too much worried about it, but you want to get down in all your nice little crevices. Anything, any place that might have oil or residue from any kind of solvent. Now sometimes you can actually wrap them with them on. I actually wrap with my clip on, and the reason I do that is because I can actually wrap over the clip and then trim the clip out. Then you have a really interesting look, or you can actually just take your clip out and leave it black. So anyway, any part of your weapon, like I said, even on the back, the grip here, sometimes I will actually cut that out, so the actual wrap only is on the portion that I want to. It's basically just a preference thing. So anyway, we've got it nice and cleaned off, got pretty much everything wiped down, and now we are going to, oh, and by the way, I never actually go inside the trigger well. Always a good thing, because like I said, you never know when something might get caught up, and that's the bad place to get caught up. So I think everybody knows that. But anyway, so here we are, and I am going to lay that down. What I would suggest is, we know that this handgun will fit in one of our handgun kits, which basically is that it fits in this square. And I'll let you know that that gun will actually work with this pattern and with this piece of vinyl. So theoretically, you can actually do a full handgun with a single piece of vinyl, which is really kind of cool. Our kits actually come with 2 sheets of vinyl, but like I said, we always want to make sure that our customers, if they do mess up, they will have another sheet to work with. This is a 3M premium vinyl. What we're doing here is we're actually just cutting out the square. Doesn't take much. Good, nice, sharp X-Acto. So really the only thing that you actually have to have for our kits is an X-Acto and the denatured alcohol and some paper towels. So once you get started, now sometimes it's a good idea to have a straight edge, but like I said, it's not necessary, because you're going to find out that there are some there's going to be a little bit of room once you pull this back. Oh, and by the way, you don't have to wear the gloves. I just do that because I've been in the sign and print business for a while, and when we do a wrap, we always wear gloves. I would suggest that you wash your hands, and just for the sheer fact that you have oils on your hands. Now what we're going to do is we're actually going to place this vinyl in a central location, and you can see that I am not doing anything other than adding some pressure to get it started on a flat place. It's very, very simple to do. It doesn't require any kind of heat. It's just a pressure activated vinyl. Do need to get a squeegee. And by the way, we do actually sell, or not sell, excuse me, we give these away with our packages. So if you buy one of our kits, you will get one of these in your kit, which makes it very easy to get down in all these nice little grooves. And that's what I suggest if you have some really deep areas. That's what I would do. I would actually get right down in those deep areas first. That way you have plenty of vinyl to lay down in there. And you can see that it pulls right down into those areas without any problem whatsoever. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually expand from our center point, and we're just going to be moving out. And as you can see, the vinyl will flex and stretch, and the ink, which is a latex ink, will actually stretch with your vinyl because it's part of your vinyl. And this is how we actually get it to wrap around those curves. All I'm doing is actually taking and stretching that vinyl to get it to lay down. And as you can see, that vinyl will stick to my gloves, it will stick to this weapon until you take it off, but all the residue, which is the adhesive, will come off with the actual vinyl. So you don't have to worry about getting having your gun covered with sticky stuff, basically is what it amounts to. As you can tell, like I said, I went over the top of the slide, which I'm going to trim out because, like I said, I want it to be what right now all we're doing is actually wrapping the main portion of the handgun. We're not wrapping anything that has to do with the slide as of yet. Now we will, and if you notice, like I said, every time I push that vinyl down, I can pull it and stretch it and get any wrinkles that I may have in that vinyl will escape. Because this vinyl actually has some really nice qualities to it, which is, one, that it has a air release to it, so you cannot get bubbles in it. And if you do get bubbles, it's because you just threw it on there and said, okay, I'm done. But if you spend just a little bit of time with it, you're going to notice that. All right, and then this is a trick. You know, everybody, says, well, can you tell me some of the neat little tricks? I usually trim out on the vinyl, and I will do the same here because I know that's a long stretch right there. So I'll just trim out on that vinyl, pull through, and now I can continue to lay that vinyl down. If you notice, like I said, you see a really interesting effect, which is it's going to wrap around that product now. Since I cut it, and it has no tension, so it's going to allow me to keep forming my vinyl around that wrap. And what's going to happen is we're going to get to a point where we don't have to worry about it because we're going to trim out straight across. Because what we do is we actually wrap one side at a time, and you see it's picking up all that texture, which is really kind of cool. It's picking up all the texture that's needed. Now I'm going to take my X-Acto and I'm going to very lightly just run it across the top of the piece, and then the vinyl will actually separate, of course. And you can see that we have a really cool gee-whiz edge. And now here, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to trim it back to itself. I'm going to actually pull this around, stretch it right around that the magazine there, and we can trim it out just a little bit so we can get all of our excess vinyl off. And it's nice to have a really nice sharp X-Acto to do this. Alright, so we've got that pulled around there. Now we're going to do the back side, of course, same way. Actually, I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead, and I told you I would show you one way with the slide on and one way with the slide off. Right now all I'm doing is just trimming away excess. Because once you get the excess trimmed away, you can actually work a little easier with the vinyl. And if you notice, like I said, it's kind of taking the shape of my handgun. What I'll do is it's all pressure activated, so as soon as I start pressing down in these little areas, then I'm getting exactly where I want that vinyl to go. What we're going to do now is we're going to actually very lightly take our knife, and you don't have to put too much pressure on it to get it to cut. We're going to easily pull that away. So now you have this good looking, and see right here we have the wrinkles. What you can do is pull that and bang, those wrinkles are actually gone, which is really kind of cool. Because that's the nice thing about the IJ180. It's a premium 3M vinyl. It's the same vinyl that we use to wrap cars, except for this has a special over laminate. It's not a sheet laminate, it's a liquid laminate. So anyway, we're sitting here and wrapping, and now we get to come around here, and for the fun part, we get to actually pull that tight, get it to lay down right there. We're going to trim and pull back a little bit here, just enough to get our, whoop, see, no, that's me. And here we go with our trim. So I start usually in the middle here, just over halfway, trim it out. Sometimes I don't press quite hard enough, because you don't really want to put a whole lot of pressure on it. And then come back in, and we're going to trim this way, and then we're going to trim right at the back side of this, where the hammer is. There we go, and lay it down. I may trim it a little bit more because I see a little place that I missed. Or maybe just the vinyl didn't pull up. Oh, I didn't cut it. That's what it was. Alright, and here we are with this nice little piece that's got this side of the handgun almost done. Like I said, we've got a little bit of detail work to do, which is, one, I like to go ahead and trim out the front. What I do is I usually just will pick it up and I will trim out, and what we'll do is I'll come back in and I will actually trim a little bit better. I just overlap it right now because, like I said, I can come back at any time and do a finish trim on that. Now, like I was saying, I don't really like to go inside the trigger well, so I usually will wait for that. I'm sorry, I'm going to go ahead and pull that little piece off right there. There we go. Alright, so now you notice I got this mess of leftover vinyl. Actually, I'll show you, there's really a neat trick for that too, is that it's really not leftovers. Like I said, you can actually reuse that vinyl. All you have to do is heat it up just a little bit, and it will kind of pull right back into its original form. Now, something I just did, like I said, when you get to a place where your vinyl is already stuck down, you can actually just give it a little tap, and it will create an air release. And once you do that, then you're pretty much, especially on your indentions and stuff like that, where you're real fine detail, you want to give it some space to actually release that air if it didn't release by itself. So here we are with a piece that just about has got it finished. But I want to trim out that finger well, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually take my sharp knife and I'm going to basically just kind of run it around that edge until I get to a point where I actually have to cut. And once I do that, then I'll get to that place where, okay, now I need to actually come in here and actually do a physical cut. So very lightly, we are going to let that sit on that. And you can see that, like I said, I may still need to trim out a little bit, but I don't always want to cut right to that edge because I want to be able to trim it out just a little bit more to make sure I get it right where I wanted it. So that's why I don't go ahead and finish that cut all the way across. So anyway, here we are in a perfect world. You have a good looking wrap. Takes a few times maybe, or one time, but usually not any more than that. And you can see that it's laying right down into all these neat little areas. What I do is I come back in, I trim out this little area because we know that that's our release for our magazine, or a clip, whichever we all want to call it. I grew up calling it mags. So anyway, here we are with a really neat piece, which you can take your tool now, and you can actually come in and you can do a little bit of fine detailing, and I'm going to show you some of the nice little cleanups that we can do on it. But that pretty much got you into the realm of, okay, now we have this really nice looking piece. What I do is I know that I can't leave that one piece there. I have to trim that out, and that is because of the rays on it. So I will trim it out, but you will not know, because that vinyl has already been stretched in that area, and now I have this really nice pocket that I can use my tool to work that vinyl right into that pocket area. And I got one small cut to make here that will release that. There we go. And what we'll do is we'll take our vinyl, we'll pull it in, and we'll squeeze a little bit there, a little bit there, and presto, we do have a wrapped piece now. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at it in detail now and make sure that we have everything that we need trimmed out. So we're going to start trimming out some pieces that we know we have to trim out, which one is when we want to take that slide off, or if we want to take that slide off, we are going to trim out this piece. What I normally like to do is I like some of the black accents. So I will actually pull that piece off, and it will allow me to have a really neat little accent there. And what I normally do is I'll come back in and I'll trim it just a little bit more to make sure that I have that vinyl off of here. Sorry, I'm probably not showing you that well, am I? So come over here, let me get that little piece to lift off. There we go. Now we have, well, me and that little piece are just not working out well. Give me just a minute. I'm going to make sure that I did a good cut. There we go. That's what it was. Alright, so now we have a really nice trimmed out piece, but we still have a couple of areas that I normally trim, which are, I'll come in here, there's a little place right here. This is actually a locking mechanism, which by the way I never use for this weapon, because it would only in storage would I ever use that. But I will trim that out just in case. So now I have that, and it shows me the safe. You can actually read fire and safe. And there's one other place here that I normally come in and trim out, which is very simple to do with a sharp blade. Is I come in and I will trim out the serial number on this thing, because most of the time, depending on where you live and what state you're in and stuff like that, then they're going to require to be able to see that serial number on there. So we've actually gone in and just pulled that serial number right on out. So anyway, this is, oops, and I got one small little cut area here, which is where you could put on your laser or your torch. I usually come in and I will trim that out. It's very simple to do, and bang, you have a really nice wrap, which by the way does not affect your oops, hard to do with that glove on, does not affect your slide whatsoever, and pretty cool stuff. Very nice looking camouflage for a smaller weapon, which by the way, this is probably one of the more difficult handguns to wrap because of the complexity of the grip and stuff like that. But you can, if you noticed, I'm not sure if you did or not, we can actually come up here and not trim that out, so I need to trim that out real quick. You can trim out your slide mechanism. It's very simple to do, very easy. There we go, nice and clean. You want to make sure there's nothing hindering your path of your slide, which, as you can see on the back side here, we've got a neat little place, and you can see the slide coming up. And I know you're thinking, well, you know what, the clip is not going to come out unless he actually trims it out. So that's what we're going to do now. I do know this handgun fairly well, and I know where that trim is for that clip. So it doesn't take much. What I do is I go ahead and trim it, and then what we'll do is we'll actually take and that's why we had to trim around that release mechanism. But I'll go ahead and take that out, and as you can see, like I said, then we have this really nice looking piece for the slide, or excuse me, for the clip. And then we'll just clean up down here on this piece. Make sure we have nothing hanging out that would hinder the clip itself, because we wouldn't want anything to get tangled. So anyway, like I said, all pressure sensitive. So you can see that this is a pretty cool handgun, or wrap for a handgun. It's premium vinyl, so it's going to wrap right down to it. And when you slide that in there, basically you're getting the full effect of the camouflage. And not much to it, and we appreciate it. But like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to give us a call. Our number, we have a 1-800 number, 1-844-647-2266, which is camo. So Mission Camo, go online, go on our Facebook, or give me a call, and I'll be more than happy to help you out with it. But if there's anything else here that you didn't understand, please watch the video as many times as you need, and it should explain a lot of the things that I just went through. All right, thanks now, and you have a great day.